good discipline comes from the two things that I think are the most important. Well, the first is respect. I think if you respect people, in general, you get respect back. The second thing is trust. I think if you trust people, of course you sometimes get kicked in the teeth. Sometimes people do abuse the confidence you show in them. But I would say 90% of the time, which is a pretty good average, for 90% of the time, if you trust people, you get trust back. And I found that those two principles underlie everything that I've ever done since in education: trust and respect. So one of the things I did when I became head of the school myself was to abolish any dress code. Because I feel, again, using those two terms of trust and respect, I would trust you to dress reasonably, and obviously you have, I can see that. And I'd respect the way you dress. Occasionally you get somebody who would dress a little bizarrely, or what we might think of being bizarre dress. But on the whole, most people don't. They find their own level, they have their own, they can make their own choices. And I just felt that so much energy and so much time and so much ill feeling was invested in this nonsensical idea that everybody had to be dressed the same way. The ideas that A.S. Neal proposed of essentially a democratic community in which everybody had an equal say sounded like an ideal that I would like to pursue. The second educator that influenced me a lot was a man by the name of Suzuki, a Japanese educator. And those of you who've been at the school for some time will know that in the primary part of the school, in primary school, every child learns how to play the violin through the Suzuki method. So he was the man who invented this method of teaching. But the thing that really struck me in reading some of his works was the very important principle that he adduced, and that was that ideas without action are no better than not having any ideas at all. You might as well not have an idea if you don't act on it. And that seemed to me to be quite an important principle. I tried to put that into practice myself. So when I decided to open a school, it wasn't just an idea. We put it into practice and made it happen. The third influence on me, and probably the greatest influence, and I think he is still the person who understands how children learn better than anyone else. If you haven't read any of his books, they're very easy to read. I brought a couple of them with me. And this is John Holt. Here, How Children Learn and the Underachieving School. And his most famous book, which I couldn't find, I was looking for it on my bookshelf, but I couldn't find it. I think I must have lent it to somebody and never got it back, which I can understand because it's a wonderful book, is How Children Fail. So those three books, he's written more than that, but they were a very strong influence on me. If America's schools were to take one giant step forward this year towards a better tomorrow, what should it be? And this is John Holt's answer. It would be to let every child be the planner, director, and assessor of his own education, to allow and encourage him, with the inspiration and guidance of more experienced and expert people, and as much help as he asked for to decide what he is to learn, when he is to learn it, how he is to learn it, and how well he is learning it. It would be to make our schools, instead of what they are, into a resource for free and independent learning, which everyone in the community, of whatever age, could use as much or as little as he wanted. I think that sort of explains very much what his ideas are. That basically you have to take control of your own education. It's not something which a school or a society or a principal should be imposing on you. They may offer you a menu, as it were, but it's up to you to take control yourselves and decide what you are going to learn, what's important. Again, he does stress, with the guidance of more expert people than yourself, people who've had the experience already, but it's still, you need to take ownership yourself of your own education. True learning, learning that is permanent and useful, that leads to intelligent action and further learning, can arise only out of the experience, interests and concerns of the learner. Every child, without exception, has an innate and unquenchable drive to understand the world in which he lives and to gain freedom and competence in it. Whatever truly adds to his understanding, his capacity for growth and pleasure, his powers, his sense of his own freedom, dignity and worth, may be said to be true education. Education is something a person gets for himself, not that which someone else gives or does to him.